What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tony D2 Wild checking in once again, back in the building. And today, guys, we are at Main Street Guns and Range. I wanted to pull up because I'm feeling really shotgunny, okay? We recently did a video on a shotgun when we talked about 5 guns that need to be picked up before the election. And I was talking about my Beretta 1301. And some people in the comment section said, man, a pump action shotgun is also the way to go. And I have a few, but there was one in particular that I really have been having my eye on. And I wanted to just see if they had one here, but also kind of make a video out of it, like some of the most affordable go-to shotguns that you can grab right now that are just good to, you know, have as a home defense, self-defense within the home. Because there's a lot of options that I think that may take you by surprise, but also is this available instead of having to go out and spend even more on a pistol or an AR. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need those. I'm just saying that when it comes to affordability, the shotgun, I would say, is the most affordable out of those 3. Let's go check it out. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, Perry, you want to be in camera? You good? It's a guy here. It's a good guy. That's a special guy. You see, he wears a coat. He don't wear the T-shirt, man. You got to be special. But, yeah. So, we got some stuff in the day. I'm going to actually take off my mic. Let me flip this around so you guys can be with me. So, I'm here with my man Jackson. Got my wide lens on. So, obviously, I had talked to you before. Really, nothing has came in new. Super new yet, at least, because SHOT Show's around the corner.
Waiting for SHOT Show.
So we know that that's going to be having some things going down. But what I did want to do is I wanted to, you know, we did one with the top 5 pistols, and I think that was very good. A lot of people liked it. I think we should do one with shotguns. Now, as far as as far as pricing goes, we'll kind of be up in the air, but I want to talk about affordability, you know, and I want to hear your opinion as well. What I said outside before I came in. When it comes to like a home defense gun, right? Let me set this up. Can you see? Can you see it? Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. When it comes to like affordability as a home defense gun, we agree that shotguns are the most affordable. That's like the go-to. Like if someone's like, I don't care about firearms, I just want something to protect my home. Are you going to tell them to get a pistol or shotgun or AR player first? If they like want to spend.
Okay, so personal argument. If you can afford it, have one of all 3. Just best of all worlds.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
That said, though, if you're only going to have one, I'd run a shotgun. I do run a shotgun just as a primary home defense rifle. I think we're actually going to get to it in the video. Yeah. When I run, just because of the versatility it gives you for most people, point blank range.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to this. If you live out in a ranch, you have wide open fields, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd say go with a heavy rifle 308, something like that.
Gotcha. Yep.
If you're living in kind of a more open area and you want an AR, AR is perfectly option. AK is perfectly good option. Shotgun's even the most versatile for what most people need. There's going to be arguments on the comment section of this.
Definitely. We're not here to tell you what the correct answer is.
Like I said, we're in suburban kind of Atlanta, the Atlanta area. I'd go shotgun. It gives you the most versatility with what you can run around. Personally.
I agree. We're not here to say what is the best. We're just here to give our personal opinion. Out of the 3, shotguns definitely have more recoil.
I was like, if you're only buying one gun, I'd always go shotgun, like I said, just for that versatility.
Yeah.
You can get ammo loads, all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm sure we'll in the videos.
Yeah, I'll say definitely recoil-wise, it's gonna have a lot of kick, but it's harder to miss your target with a shotgun compared to any other one, in my opinion.
And if recoil is the thing, we can talk about as well too. You can always drop the gauge down. You could go down to 20 gauge, 16 gauge, 10 if you wanted to. Those options.
Or your loads could be lower.
Yeah,
you can go for buckshot. Birdshot is, you know, we'll talk about that as well. People talk bad about birdshot, but personally, I feel like birdshot up close, it's the more so when you get out is when it becomes least effective. But close up birdshot, I've seen some videos where it does some damage. But with that said, let's go ahead. Let's get straight into it, and let's break down 5 that we talked about, and I think we are kind of in agreement for, right? So let's talk about number 5. All right, coming in at number 5, this one might make a lot of people sick, okay? But it is what it is. Like, I've ran one, right? Turkish shotguns. Turkish.
Okay, so here's my gist with this. They're fine to an extent. Just know what you're buying. They're very cheap, very affordable. We get transfers from, Palmetto, from us.
Panzer Arms.
Panzer Arms, all the time. No problems. Just know the limitations of them is you're not going to have as good quality control across the board. They run fine for what you need them to do, but just know that with lesser value comes lesser of a gun as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got no problems with most of them. I know SDS makes pretty good ones. Panzers would be up there.
This is SDS import?
This is SDS,
okay, got you. Heard of them?
This would be their model. This is the GeForce Arms.
Got you.
Ones we sell all the time. The one I know that would be Tokarev would be one of the ones I trust as well too. And that goes for both their bullpups, which we've had a ton of requests for. We actually
Bullpup shotguns, yeah.
At the time of filming this, we had 2 this morning that have come in looking for bullpup shotguns for it. There, I don't know if you use any of them for his.
Nah, never shot a bull. Well, my bad. I have shot a bullpup shotgun. I had a KSG, which is a bullpup shotgun. But
we'll get to that.
Yes. My thoughts on Turkish shotguns, as I've stated, I've shot Panzer Arms, specifically their M2 and their M4. No issues. No issues. I put about 500 through each. Nothing wrong with it. It's affordable. I respect it. I do think, however, that with the price point, you can get a more reputable brand for around it. This one is under 300. You can spend under 300 for some other ones here today. But if you want to so bad, you want a M4 clone or something, that is Panzer makes a good one. There's other ones out there, Orthro Arms, I believe.
We haven't had any come through, but I've seen them online.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Turkish clones out there that have, for the most part, I've only heard good reviews. But if somebody came to me that I cared about, and you guys as well in the comments said, Tony, a Turkish shotgun or a Mossberg, I'm going to go with Mossberg. That's just how it is. But it is worth noting and putting this one at number 5.
So we'll throw, like I said, category-wise, just know that going into it, they're fantastic guns for what they are, but you are paying a limited price point for a limited quality gun.
Yep. All right, the next one we got is a Winchester.
Yeah, I was going to say, nothing would be complete without having one of the old Winchesters. Now, note to self, there are 2 different kind of performance versions of this. Most of Winchester's guns are now being made over in Turkey. They do the contracting work over there. I'm not sure if you knew that or not.
I did not know.
So they do most of the
It says it right here, yeah,
they
wow.
do most of the contract work. Now, they go through firms that have been there quite a bit, and I know Baco, who does their importing for stuff, they make a fantastic load. So, for example, like the SPX, one of your standard...
They're doing that for all their guns, or just their shotgun?
They do it for some of it. Winchester kind of contracts out, so they do some in Turkey. They're actually high-performance ones they do in Portugal and Spain.
Okay.
They partner with some other companies over there, and they have a bunch of their sporting guns. But they'd be definitely, in my opinion, a step above the Turkish ones.
Yeah.
Similar quality, better overall ergonomics, and better quality control. Same ergonomics, of course.
Very light, too.
Of course, we're talking pumps versus semi-autos, all that kind of stuff with it as well. So you have kind of your similar thing with it as well, too. And we can talk about, like, I'm sure we will probably in this, pump versus semi-auto. Europeans, I'm sure we'll get into this, but the Winchester's perfect acceptable. They're awesome guns. I've shot this one's a 20 gauge, but it's going to have, your fiber optic night sights, all your cool stuff, all your stuff that you need for your shotgun. Good 18.5 inch length, which is always what I'd recommend personally for an average shooter. They're a fantastic option.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So wait, Winchester, they're making lever actions, right? Are those in Turkey as well? Because that's more.
That I do not know.
That's a tier above. Yeah.
Like I said, they're doing a lot of their contracting stuff kind of out of the country. They make some stuff here in the U.S. as well too, but they're doing a mix of stuff for it as well. Most of the shotguns that we see there, because that's what we're discussing right now, they're made in Turkey, Portugal, Spain, stuff like that as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, number 4, and we're gonna see that price on that one. So that first one was under 300. This one is under 5. So,
Like I said, affordability-wise, you can get a good quality shotgun. I'd say in the range of, if you're getting under $500, $600, you're getting a good quality one.
Yeah.
We'll get into the Mossberg variants here in a second for it as well too.
Yeah.
In fact,
number 3.
I was gonna say number 3. So we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna grab.
This is like just the most, not in a bad way when I say the word, but generic, right? The generic.
So now that we're getting into Mossberg, we're gonna have, spoilers, guys. We're gonna have 2 different versions here for you. But no list of this would be complete without mentioning something in the Security 88 family. So we'll get into the Mossberg stuff here in a second. In my opinion, this is your best budget shotgun under $300. Market wide, you can find the entire thing.
Gotcha.
They come in 2 different variations. We have both. This is the 20-inch Security.
You can hand me, if you want to hand me that other one, that way we can both hold them and show them. So that's the 20 and this is the 18?
Only difference, they're going to be the same exact rear receivers. Pretty similar finishing from how Maverick Arms does it as well too. And just your only difference is basically, you've got 6-round versus 8-round. Otherwise, ergonomics are the same. Length of pull is going to be the same. Just your barrel length will be a tiny bit, obviously, smaller on the classic model versus these. But the Security 88s, I have never seen one of these jam one time.
Yeah.
They are, in my opinion, like almost elite shotguns at this point because of how reliable, how robust, and how easy they are to shoot.
Yeah.
If I was going out and someone told me, here, with no prior knowledge or nothing, you're just getting one gun, this would be an easy top 5 pick for me. Not only with shotguns, with rifles, pistols, anything, this would be a top 5 pick overall, just because of how simplistic the design is. I mean, it's a tried and true design.
Do you know any of the history on it? Like,
so,
was it?
So I was saving it. So
straight up like a
Mossberg,
yeah.
But with these specifically, so just Maverick Arms just makes kind of not cheaper because I don't want to say that because it's not technically true, but they are more affordable. So, just more affordable shotgun options than something we're gonna get into in a second, which would be something in the 500 to 590.
Got you. Yep.
I was gonna save the history for then because it's kind of more prevalent to the 590 when we get into it.
Got you. We'll do that.
These two are basically just the simplified versions of it. Both are fantastic options. Probably on the list. I'll be honest with you guys. I'll skip ahead of time. These would probably be my number one recommendation. Just
your number one?
Yes. Just because of how affordable, how easy, and for if you're not looking for anything specialized, which we'll get into. These are absolutely the number one pick.
Got you.
You're talking sawed-offs.
Yeah.
All right. Now with this, have you shot one before?
Not a sawed-off, no.
Okay. So with these,
well, is this a sawed-off or is this a pistol grip technique? Okay. Yeah.
So, these are, because of the way that the ATF and the NFA work, these are registered as other firearms. So just so you guys know that registration-wise, for some of those in other states, other countries, stuff like that, this is not a shotgun. This is considered by the ATF and law enforcement to be an other rifle or other gun. Legally speaking, had to get that out.
Because of the stock.
Yep. Because it's under the configuration that ATF requires as a gun. Now, personally, as a rule, we don't allow these on the range. Not because we don't want you guys to have them and don't want to sell them, because they are effectively hip fire only, and you really can't control them. Plus, shotguns, you don't really want to do.
Yeah.
As a home defense tool, personally, not where I would kind of gear towards. I much prefer, I shot a lot of shotgun before. I've shot quite different versions. I prefer the regular ones.
Yeah.
With the sawed-offs, just because I like to have that ease of control. It's going to be the exact same ergonomics as your Security 88s, the ones we just went over.
Yeah.
Just personally, I would always recommend getting one that has a stock, especially as a first-time shooter.
Yeah.
These are great for, as a car gun.
In a car,
this would be a pretty good one. If you needed a shotgun as a backpacking gun or something like that, this would also be probably another good option. But just know the limitations of not having the stock, especially this one being a 12 gauge with full power cartridges. You're going to feel some kick, and you're not really going to have a tremendous amount of accuracy. Everyone comes out and thinks they're the Terminator, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, everyone loves a good Terminator.
This is the more intimidating looking one, and that's what people go for, but it's like all intimidation does not always mean accuracy and working well.
And we'll get into kind of, I'm sure at the end of the video, why specifically. I'm going to say this. I'm going to go pump over auto personally.
Okay. Let's get to that, because that's a preference. That's definitely something that I want to talk about.
Couldn't be complete without mentioning one. Offs are cool. Pistol grip ones are cool. They're kind of in the same category. We have the Shockwaves on the wall, but I like the Maverick 88 a little better.
Yeah.
But that's an option.
I forgot all about the Shockwaves.
So same category. Same thing with it. All right.
Number 2. This is my favorite, and this is one that's been on my eyes.
So 590 tactical, and this is an A1 variation.
Now let me ask you a quick question, right? Because I've just noticed that. What is the difference between, I guess, Mossberg Maverick and Mossberg?
So they're all under the same conglomeration, the same way that you've kind of owned thinking about that company right now. You've got all the Turkish companies, they have different conglomerations and stuff.
Yeah.
Mossberg owns Maverick Arms.
They
use them as a subsidiary where Mossberg makes them, I believe, and I'm going to get this wrong, they're going to kill me, at their factory. They make the Maverick Arms down in Tennessee. Butchered that wrong. Texas. I'm completely wrong. It's Texas.
It's all good.
They're owned by the same subsidiary. Maverick just kind of like I said, they're a limited term dealer. It's their smaller dealer where they make more of the Security 88s and focus on that stuff.
Okay.
But Mossberg's been around forever. They're one of the big two, in my opinion, for stuff. Certainly up there with Remington. Though I say personally, I prefer Mossberg.
Yeah.
Their ergonomics look better, and they're a little bit more reliable, and they like their placement, which is a very important thing for me as well, too, as a right-handed shooter.
Got you. Because what I was going to say is, now that you mentioned it, and now that I'm sitting here, the first shotgun I ever owned was a Mossberg Maverick.
Sure.
And I think it was the 20-inch barrel one, the super long hunting rifle. It didn't make no sense, but I owned one of those back in the day. But we're back here on this one, my bad.
So 590A1, this would be...
This has a history to it.
This has a history to it. So this was basically a contracted shotgun that was pitched to the U.S. military back in the... Mossberg came out with the gun back in the 60s. The military didn't formally really adopt it until, I think, the mid-80s, maybe early 90s, Persian Gulf, a little bit before Persian Gulf era. In terms of reliability, this is their tried and true model. It's what the Army uses, it's what the Marines use to a degree. They've replaced it across the board with some stuff as well, too. But the A1 would just be their configuration. So this one does not have the bayonet lug, but it would have the bayonet lug. You'd have your other one. This is more the civilian equivalent. This one's really cool. It's going to have your, I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, your ghost ring sights, which are fantastic for a shotgun.
Yeah.
A lot of clearancy on it.
And this is brand new. The M lock on the charging on the actual
tactical furniture. You could run a foregrip, you could run a light, you could run everything as well too. The A1 will just basically be their kind of tactical configuration. It was the military contracted ones. I know a lot of police forces use them. The military's been using them forever. I actually looked it up just as a kind of preface as well too. Did you know there are 5 500 or over 500 law enforcement agencies across the world that actually use this gun.
I'm not surprised. I mean, this is I would say this is usually the go-to one that at least I ever knew about. Like, this is the one that a lot of they still use today. The ones that sit up in the patrol car, sit up on the ceiling, you know. So
there are a lot of guns that through the last century and a half, especially like we've talked a lot of history. I'm sure we'll get into some more as well too down the road.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things in militaries and police forces and everything that's changed. But one thing that hasn't, especially since World War I, pump action shotguns have been a staple of a lot of modern militaries and a lot of stuff throughout that entire time. And they really haven't changed that much. I mean, like I said, Mossberg goes back all the way to those early 1900s with stuff. A lot of stuff goes back. You know, you got trench guns, personal favorite of mine. It's on my bucket list for sure. But this would be something just, you know, they're awesome guns. They're great, and they've been in service for forever. This one just happens to be kind of the military contractor one. It's also one of my personal favorites because this is kind of the style that was in like one of the OG games that I grew up with, which was Call of Duty 4. This is, you know, very first mission. You break it in. It was. I like to keep this for close encounters. And that's your pop culture reference for the day, because I had to. This would be the shotgun that Captain Price uses. It's awesome that way as well, too. Yeah,
this is definitely what we're going to be probably having some fun with today, honestly. This is like you can't go wrong with this one. Now,
5.98 is hard to beat.
Yeah. Now, before we get to number one, we're going to talk a little bit about some honorable mentions, and what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and get to that. All right, so some honorable mentions that we did have that we do like a lot, but just felt that it was a little bit slightly above the affordability. Of course, first one's first is the A300 Ultima.
Here will be the thing with this. Now, like I said, I'm sure, because this needs to be said during this argument, we'll get into semi-automatics versus pumps here in a second.
Yeah.
The Berettas are fantastic. They're a little bit above this price point for what we're going for. Certainly this would be, you know, semi-automatic shotguns, generally speaking, will run you a higher dollar value than what you're seeing from your pumps, just because of the machining, all the internals, the requirements. You have an actual system of gas that flows it back, actual like internals that you don't have manual action on, so it costs a little bit more money for it as well too.
Yeah.
Ultima 300 is fantastic. We've got a couple, so this is just the kind of blue finish one we have, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There's standard ergonomics with it as well too. These are really cool. So if you've ever seen John Wick, of course, he uses the Benelli M4. Which the Beretta is basically kind of not a subsidiary, but it's definitely a competitor of. A little bit less money, but also a little bit
Hence
more
why I picked up the 1301, which is pretty much the more Gucci version of this one. This is the affordable 1301, but the 1301 does have the blink system, which that's my go-to right now. But we'll talk about the whole, you know, pump action over that in a minute.
But this would just be on the higher end. It wouldn't really be kind of in the conversation we're talking about. But if you wanted a fantastic gun option, cannot go with that as well too.
Another one that just popped up, which I actually own a variant like of it. I have it through Kalashnikov, but not through actual Sega. But this is
kind of like a Main Street exclusive for this. We have a real Sega 12 that came back to us. This is something that's really cool. So we haven't really got.
You know how you said semi-action? If you had to go semi, would you still go with a Beretta, or would you go with the Sega?
I don't know. I've never shot an AK-12, so I'd kind of be partial towards that. I will say this personally. Overall, I prefer internal tube-fed guns versus magazine guns, but this one, kind of alluring-wise, is kind of cool enough that I like it.
And this is, correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free in the comments as well. But from a military perspective, people run it. Well, nah, my bad. My bad. Benelli M4 is a military proven tube gun, I was going to say, but this is also utilized as well. Yes.
From, you know, things being over certain areas of the world. Or stuff. Your Sega 12 and its clones. This is just basically an AK chambered in 12 gauge.
They're both being used. So magazine fed or tube fed semi-automatic shotguns are being utilized same ways, pump actions, but
But this is kind of cool. It'll just be, you know, your AK ergonomics. You have a full kind of press tube with it as well too.
Is the one that's being used, is it the same barrel? They go with a shorter?
They have shorter length.
Shorter,
if you need CQB barrels, they have it. Obviously, this one's compliant with US regulations.
Yes,
Too. If you got, you know, non-compliant ones, if you want to get a real one, it's a lot of money when you can find them because these haven't been in the country a tremendous amount. It's hard to find. We are very happy to have a Sega in here. So honorable mention for both magazine shotguns. Not my personal preference. But especially AK-12 variants.
That one can slide. All right, so coming in at number one, guys. One of my guns that I own myself.
I'll say, now we're cheating a little bit here because as a price point, this is going to be, of course, the most expensive of the set. Now, you've shot one.
Yes.
This is also my go-to home defense gun as well, too. I have mine. We're, of course, talking about the Caltech KSG. Now, in terms of ergonomics, a bullpup rifle is fantastic, both for, like I said, you've shot quite a few.
Yeah.
I like the KSG mostly because of its capacity and the size that it gives you. I'm a fairly big frame guy. I'm sure you guys can appreciate that as well too. I love its ergonomics. It's better than a COD, which doesn't add much for that as well too, but I grew up on Black Ops 2 as well.
Yeah.
And this was one of my favorite guns to run, especially with the slug rounds on the inside.
Yes.
Fantastic platform. Caltech, no shade at Caltech, but they make some very interesting stuff.
Yes,
some
they
of
get
their
a little
guns
bit of fun.
I think they can admit that some of their guns work, some of their guns don't. This is one of the ones that personally I think is one of Caltech's best designs. Of course, it's going to feature your dual internal barrel, which I can appreciate because I run 2 different loads in mine.
Exactly. Same.
It is an awesome gun, you know, pump action, and it's definitely, you're getting the same. The biggest thing with the Caltech for me is
compact
in bullpups, you're getting a same length barrel. So this is an 18 points, and I think Caltech is 18.7 instead of 18.5. But this is the same length barrel as that Mossberg Maverick 88 security.
Yeah, let's grab the M90, the M or any of them. It just, I mean, just lay it up
This would
there.
be the most comparable one for it.
I mean,
That is almost the same size barrel.
remove the whole, you know, none of that. So
And you're getting the internal, so you're getting basically the same ballistics advantage for both guns.
yeah,
But you're getting the same, and that's one of the reasons I want to. It's very easy. The other great thing is I've shot mine a ton. I know I take it out. It's my this is my go-to defense rifle. I've shot it.
Yep.
I don't know what loads you ran through it. But I run slugs for range.
I ran everything from birdshot, but what I have through it was one side was buck, one side was slugs, and the lever, whichever side I wanted to go. And I believe you could fit like 7 on each. Or
Yeah.
is it,
So capacity-wise, this is
7
going to
and
be a 7 and 7 plus 1.
Yeah.
And then have you run the shorty shells to it?
No, but I heard you can get even more.
How many do you think you can fit in there?
I don't know, but I probably, if you said 7, maybe I think it was like 12 or something.
I've got 26 plus 1 in mine.
26,
So 13 each, 2.
13.
One in the
Yeah, okay. Well, I was not bad, so it's 12. Yeah. Damn.
Do not run that. We're going to get into why that's probably not your best idea for home defense, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But you do have the capacity to be able to run 26 plus 1 in a shotgun in the KSG or DP12, similar bullpups,
Yeah.
the IWI, same design. I just like this. Basically, it comes down to bullpup wise. This versus like something like the DP12.
Yeah.
Weight wise, guys.
So-
this is an affordable,
Yeah.
very light, considerably
Yeah.
gun for it as well too.
I would say, and from my perspective, this was the second shotgun I owned. So I owned a hunting rifle, Maverick, whatever. I came in here and lived. This is the first gun I ever grabbed from Main Street. Was this gun, and what I can say to it is, off this list, the most bang for bang, bug for buck, pound for pound, I kind of still would lean towards that 598. But if I can, but the thing is if I want to make that leap from that to like a patrol Beretta or whatever, this is basically these shotguns, but the most slightly above price, but just you get so much out of it. And what I mean by that is you got the compact size. One thing in particular that's very important is built for modern day. See, the Picatinny rails are there, so you don't have to switch out your sights on your shotgun. You may say, why do I need a sight? Well, when you're shooting slugs, you'd be surprised how accurate slugs are. So you have your railing for your whatever optic you want to run. You got a Picatinny down here for any type of grip you want to run. It is, like I stated before, 16-inch barrel or 18-inch barrel, so you're fully compliant. But you're just super compact, and then out of, like we stated before, the capacity, which is very important.
Of course.
You can't beat that. I don't think there's any other gun except for the is that it? The IWI? That's it? No.
DB12, the IWI, I think we saw.
DB12 and IWI are the only two shotguns that would compare. And I think IWI has like a lot more, right? Yeah.
That'd be something like we have it over here, so like your triple barrels.
Yeah, you can where you rotate it. But even then, like this is just good to
It's
go.
hard to beat. Like I said, you love it. This is my go-to home defense
Yeah.
weapon. I love mine, and I really haven't done that much of a kit. I'm looking at putting a flashlight on mine just to kind of set it out, but I'm already good. I got a shell holder. I like rifle sights with mine. Guys,
Basically, if you told me like I got 500 or something, I'll try to go with something on the security or try to see if you can find a 590 A1. But if you said I'm willing to spend under 1,000, this is where I would go with this. Basically, this is where you go. Because
like I said, and the other biggest thing that, well, I'll go ahead and touch on while we're finishing up with it. Because of the weight and because of this, how nice is this to shoot with being back heavy like this? Like normally I would say that's good on a gun, but because guys, the internals of this are like this is all the metal frame. The bolt is all housed.
yeah, it's super heavy back here, so it bounces.
Which for 12 gauge, this thing shoots. I'm not gonna say feather light because it's not a shotgun.
Yeah.
But you get a tremendous amount of recoil control with this. It is an awesome gun. I know we'll get into loads here in a second. But I run 3-inch magnums in mine. They are awesome guns. I absolutely can't say enough about the Cal-Tech KSG.
Yeah.
I will say this versus a Mossberg, the one downside with this, little more complicated internals. It is not as easy to break down. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Too. That shotgun's really easy to break down. This is a little bit different. It's about stage 2. So
Yeah.
we go.
And everything here is proprietary for the most part too. That's another
Of course.
thing.
That is a downside. You have the kit shops with the 590, the 500 series.
Yeah.
Like that. But that's the biggest thing for you. Is like I said, I'm going KSG.
Yeah.
Definitely under 1,000. It's kind of, we're making an exception here for this.
Yeah.
Under 1,000, I think it's the best one. Under 500, I still go with the A1. I deal with that as well too. For it. But
Yep. All right. Well, we're gonna go have some fun with this 590A1 because I think that's what we want to do. Before we do that,
we should go into loads for stuff like that.
yeah,
Okay,
I want to talk to you about that, and also pump action over.
Oh, of course. Okay, so which one do you want to tackle first?
Let's talk about why you prefer pump over
I
that.
prefer pump over semi for basically one thing. So I know you guys have been with me a little bit. You've been Tony for a while.
Yeah.
I did an internship with a law firm a couple of years ago for stuff in college. One of the things we did is we were dealing with high-profile cases. Do you know what overkill doctrine is, at least in the state of Georgia?
No.
So, if you have to use a gun for self-defense, and we're talking specifically a shotgun here for home defense, there's something in the state of Georgia which is called overkill doctrine, which is not used in every case, but is a right that can be basically.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
What and I'm going to grab the security just to demonstrate this for it. What overkill doctrine? I'm not going to go into the legality of it. See lots of lawyers that are much more better at this than I am. Overkill doctrine is basically you can be prosecuted by your state or county, depending on your legislation, your jurisdiction for it, if they think that you used aggressive force in a self-defense situation. So you can be completely in the right. But if you take, let's say, this 6-shot Mossberg, and I want to get this out of the way as well too first, just as an interest level. With a shotgun, guys, you should never need more than 3 rounds. You should be a competent enough shot, in my opinion. You should never need more than 3 rounds to take somebody down, just as a personal policy standpoint. If you do, they're probably, if they're not fleeing already, probably in a situation where this becomes an issue for you as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my standpoint in this. I tell people all the time, 3 rounds or less, you should be carrying the full 6.
Yeah.
But 3 rounds or less just as a safety standpoint. The reason why I prefer pump over semi-auto, I have not been in one of those situations. I know you have not been in.
Yeah.
Will never.
Yeah.
But it does happen. In that situation, if you have, let's say, a semi-automatic gun, your adrenaline's pumping, and you could sit there and pour the whole, for example, on that Beretta, you could pour the full 6 shells into somebody, and then you're in trouble because then the county suddenly got you for overkill doctrine for it. So like you used excessive force. You may have been in the right, but you used excessive force that's deemed bad by the county or state.
Yeah, okay.
So that's going to be my 2 cents on that, at least. I prefer pump over semi-auto. From a pleasure standpoint, semi-auto is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
You don't feel like any functionality problems?
Personally, like I said, that's one motion.
Yeah.
Like I said, different people need different stuff. If you need a gun that you can't rack or something like that,
yeah,
perfectly fine. Just know the limitations with that. But that's my 2 cents versus on the pump versus semi-auto. They're both awesome platforms. I just prefer pump for home defense. For that reason, is you have to manually check that, and then when they show up, it's hey. Here's the 3 shells. You check all the rest out. You're good to go. So what's it for? That'd be my 2
Me personally, the preference. It's kind of hard to.
I'm not gonna feel bad.
Yeah. It's kind of tough to say, but me personally, what I would say is that shooting pumps, I've sometimes short-stroked it, and in a adrenaline situation, I would not want that to happen. And what that is basically you're trying to move fast, and you're not going all the way down and out, and you're not loading the gun, and then boom, you run into a situation. Now, there is on the semi-automatic side where there's plenty of times I've shot semi-automatics, and especially if you're shooting light loads, you may not get a full cycle or it gets locked up. So there's pros and cons to that. And then with the semi, I'm not relying on me doing that. One big thing, and this is super scenario-wise, but in a self-defense situation, if you lose an arm, semi is going to come into play.
Combat statistics, yeah.
Even though you're going to be not want to walk around with one arm, but I'm just saying, if you lose an arm, you're not going to be able to rack that.
There's some that situation-wise, you'd be better.
I mean, technically you can one-handed, but that's just a lot, But
there's some you'd be better than others. It's case-by-case point.
Yeah.
Get whatever you feel comfortable.
I don't think one outweighs the other for me personally. I would not suggest one over the other. But I would say if you are a beginner, I think that the pump is the way to go.
It's easier. You have easier internals. They're usually easier to take down. It's not as complicated a firearm as say that Beretta or the M4 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, last thing. You said loads.
Okay, so I'll ask you this first because I'm very interested before I tell you mine as working here and seeing lots of stuff. Okay, what would your preferred home defense load be for let's say 12 gauge? Let's just stick with 12 gauge.
Yeah. So at first, typical like getting into like guns way before, right? I'm like, oh, I want to shoot slugs, but then I learned like slugs go through
Everything. Yep.
So then I went with bucks, and I like buck too. Of course, buck makes sense, but I learned through a lot of people on YouTube and comment section the best load they recommend. Hopefully I don't get it wrong, and you could correct me. I think it's 20. It's either 20 shot or 14. Or I have the box there. They're small, slightly smaller than buck, but they're like I'd have to look up the specific load.
I can probably wing it right here. So, okay, so I'll give you this argument. So I'll give you kind of what's kind of seen around, and then I'll give you my personal take on it.
Yeah.
So just to get this out here, you got 3 different types of shot. You have bird shot, buckshot, slugs. There's a couple variations on that as well too. But generally speaking, those are the 3 commercial loads you're going to see. Bird shot will generally be extremely small, kind of much smaller than your fingernail, much smaller than your hangnail type shot. Buckshot will be generally speaking somewhere between 26 caliber balls. And I know the biggest ones that I run are 33 caliber balls. That'd be your buckshot. And then slugs, of course, is a single projectile. So it's just a single slugs. That's what we allow on the range. That's what's kind of safe to shoot. That'd be just basically shooting a large bullet out of your shotgun. Preface on that. Always make sure your shotgun can handle a slug. Because there are some shotguns, I know not to point hands at the Turkish ones or something like that, but there are some that are not better with slugs, just the way they internally work.
Yeah.
Make sure your shotgun is also not rifled, because there are shotguns that specifically take rifled slugs. So always, check your shotgun out. Make sure you're using the right proper ammunition, read your manufacturer's warranty, stuff like that. Make sure that you're using the loads that are accommodating to your shotgun. That's very important. Just want to get that out there for sure.
Okay. And that's what it was, just to confirm, because they told me to try it out. Try number 4. Number 4 buck. That's the one that I tried out. So I tried that one out recently, and I liked it as well.
Number 4 buck is a fantastic choice. Like I said, that's awesome gun. Awesome gun.
I still run buck though, but I've been trying that one as well.
It's going to be, in terms of on your scale of ammunition types, number 4 buck will be right in the middle, right where you move from buckshot to birdshot. Just as stylistic wise, it's basically the smallest commercial buckshot you're going to find. Fantastic option in my opinion. My advice would be this: I'm always going to say run buckshot for home defense.
Double though, or
personally, I would recommend, if you can find nothing else, double is going to be the most abundant you'll find in the entire US. It's the easiest to find.
Exactly.
We carry a ton of it. All the stores. I've never been to a gun store, COVID aside, never been to a gun store that didn't have buckshot, double-aught buck in stock. It's America's shotgun shell. That's tried and true. It's fine. You want a little less recoil or a little bit more spread? Number 4 buck's a fantastic option. Number 1 buck's a fantastic option. Personally, in that KSG, I run double-aught, but I run personally 3-inch magnums. So
okay, so the short, or that's longer.
That's longer.
Because typical is 2.5. Two, yeah. Okay.
So I run basically 3-inch shells. Your normal spec for double-aught buck is going to be somewhere between 7 and 9 pellets, depends on what brand you're working with as well too for it. But I run 3-inch, which gives you 15 pellets of double-aught buck at that same size. And the KSG can handle it. Some shotguns cannot handle 3-inch. Most of the ones that are affordable can, so check that as well.
Got you. I have to try that one out.
Make sure you run it as well too.
So yeah, I have to check that one.
Yeah. Always make sure you check it as well. But the biggest thing with that is I run a 3-inch double-aught. I actually, before I got the 3-inch, I ran triple-aught actually. Triple-aught. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely might have to try that out soon. We'll have to check that out.
We can find you some different shotguns.
Yeah. Before, I just want you all to know I've been trying it, but I still would stand by double-aught buck and slugs, but I really don't want to use the slugs unless it's like a long shoot shot.
Last caveat with this, run buckshot would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
With bird shot, as we talked about kind of before, it can work in a pinch. The reason why you do not want to run it is the spread is going to be significantly higher on everything else.
Yes.
So there's a chance that you not only hit whatever you're shooting at, whatever that might be, but if you're inside of your house, you're hitting your TV, your china cabinet, your couch, and that's stuff that you not necessarily are worried about in the time, but you can save yourself a little bit of headache by not running, let's say, I'll put this out there. Do not run number 8, number 9, or 7.5 for the house.
Yeah.
They're smaller shot sizes. That's for bird, dove, clay, sports shooting, stuff like that. That would be the load that I would not recommend at all.
Got you.
There is an exception to that. I have heard from multiple sources that their favorite home defense load is number 5 turkey shot. And that's one that's it's right underneath, couple steps down, but a couple steps underneath number 4 buck. That would be about the only bird shot that I'd run in the house. There's very specific reasons why people run that, but I've talked to several people, and that's actually their preferred loading for it. So number 5 turkey would be on the table. It's just not my preferred
Feel
shot.
free to comment down below in the comment section. We're talking because this is going to be like almost like a podcast discussion. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can have their opinions. I've heard also 20 gauges is just as good.
20 gauge is fine if you're looking for reduced recoil. I'd also say in that same department, I shot 16 gauge was the very first first firearm that I ever shot. Grandpa took me out in the field and we shot 16 gauge. I love it. It's just not as easy to find a caliber as 20 gauge or 12 gauge.
Got you. And before we go, why do gun ranges, or at least some gun ranges, require you to shoot slug over bird or anything else? This is a question that would be like a short YouTube short for.
So the reason why most, at least I'll speak for us, at least the reason that we only allow slugs is twofold. One,
the spread.
To a degree, we want to kind of minimize the spread, so you're trying to stay, on your lane or an indoor range. On outdoor, it's not as much as a problem, but on indoor ranges, you want to kind of keep to where your shooting area is. It's just a safety precaution. Second thing, you have more of a chance, and this is kind of a twofold, you have more of a chance of a ricochet coming back as you have more projectiles that are flying
hitting the
range,
walls.
so you have more chance of a ricochet, but also, to a degree, it tears up our rubber as well, too.
Got you. Okay, that's all. Well, let's go ahead and shoot some slugs through this 590. All right, cool. All right, guys. Got a couple rounds, about 30. I think that's enough to hurt my shoulder. So we're gonna be having a little bit of fun with this Mossberg. Gonna load up 5, 2, 3, 5. Whew, let me get the angle right, y'all. It's long. Ready? Very nice. Not as bad on the butt pad is very nice. I think I did pretty good. I aimed here. Pretty good. I think I hit the shots. All right, y'all, so I forgot to shoot an outro, but yeah, man, let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions. We kind of filmed this like in a little bit different type of aspect, more raw and uncut, vloggy type of footage, discussion, gun talk, gun store gun talk. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Yeah, 590A3 is now in the collection, and 590A1 is now in the collection, and I'm happy. I love it. I'm out. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.